staff, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, attack helicopters, or however else you may personally identify. Welcome to the show where once again people continue to be wrong on the interwebs. I got sent this video by the bloke that made it this afternoon, where in his email missive to me he said, "I debunked you." Oh, okay. Well, that'll be interesting, I thought to myself. So number one, the video is less than 6 minutes long, so it's very, very difficult to convincingly debunk anything whatsoever in less than 6 minutes, let alone what this bloke is claiming in the title of his video, which reads, 5 Reasons Bart K is a Dangerous Idiot. All right. So basically, what I need to say to all of you, and by virtue of the fact that he's probably watching because his ego won't allow him not to, what I need to say to this child here is this. Okay. Number one, son, go to school. Learn a trade. Learn some kind of skill. Get yourself into a position where you have any credibility to speak on any topic of any kind before you make a video talking about that or any other topic, frankly. You are clearly an opinionated young person with absolutely no basis, no background, no credentials, no skills, no understanding, no knowledge. You are the product of a generation who have been brought up to believe that their opinion too is valid for some reason. Let me disabuse you of that notion, son. You are a child. You are a child who clearly has not been disciplined by his parents or other caregivers, as the case may be. You are a child who has never learned respect or how to show deference to someone like myself, who is a senior academic, a professor of health science with a list of publications in this area that string back to before you were born, son. Your 5 or 6 minute video here is singly without any evidence of any kind that you've presented here. What you have done is you have mindlessly espoused an opinion based on nothing but what you've heard others say online. And it's clear, and we'll be able to point to straight exactly who it is you've been listening to the moment you open your stupid, ignorant, childlike mouth. So let's do that for fun, shall we, boys and girls? We'll go through it just because. Let's see just exactly what a dangerous idiot I am, and let's hear these 5 reasons why I'm a dangerous idiot, shall we? All right then, off you go, sunshine.
Reasons why Bart K is wrong.
Okay, I'm wrong. Rightio, let's hear them.
Number 1, ketosis is good for us.
I never said it wasn't. Ever. Or are you suggesting I'm wrong in suggesting that ketosis is not necessarily bad for us? Because that's a different statement altogether. When have I ever claimed that ketosis is good for us? Ever. Somebody please find the footage of me saying that or stating that, and then I shall apologise. Because I have never said that, son. Ever. I've never said it's good for us, and I've never said it's bad for us. Ketogenesis is a normal part of a properly functioning human metabolic system. It is what it is. It exists for a purpose. It has a role to play, and it plays it. Right, so that's number 1, brushed aside immediately. What have you got to say on it?
Ketosis is just a form of metabolism.
It's not a form of metabolism, it's a part of the integrated functioning of the metabolic system
that uses ketones as a source of energy. Our bodies start using ketones only when we're missing carbohydrates.
Not missing carbohydrates. Missing implies that we need carbohydrates in our diet, which we don't.
Our body's favorite source of fuel.
No, it isn't. False. That's your opinion, clearly. Have you established that as any kind of fact? Have you provided any kind of evidence for your mindless, childlike opinion there on that? No. Our body's favourite source of fuel is not carbohydrates at all.
Why would you deprive yourself voluntarily of your body's favorite source of...
Well, it isn't our favourite source, or the favourite source of the cells, and not consuming carbohydrates in your diet is no form of deprivation of any kind. You mindless imbecile. What's next?
Fuel, which is needed for the brain, for your testicles, for the glands.
Go and look up gluconeogenesis, child, boy. Go and look that up. Learn about it. The need for exogenous carbohydrate in the diet is not 1 gram ever. None at all. Still.
Why?
Well, I've just explained that. Really, over the last... Well, I've really been explaining that over the last 4 years at least, nearly 5 years, that I've been making public videos for YouTube consumption. There are many, many reasons why you would refrain from consuming exogenous carbohydrates if you've got any sense whatsoever. If you want to learn what they are, perhaps you should actually shut your mouth, because your opinion is not just as valid as the next person's. As someone with no life experience, no training, no credentials, and no background whatsoever, no, your opinion is not just as valid. So shut your mouth and go and listen to somebody who does understand this and who does know something about this, someone like myself, and you'll learn why carbohydrates in the diet are not a good idea. What is next?
It is just a starvation mode that...
No, it isn't. Not at all. False. Starvation is when there is no food of any kind available and no stored, mostly fat, on the body. That is when starvation occurs, and not before.
The body starts when you are missing its favorite source of fuel.
Well, you've already said that twice, and it's already been corrected twice. Wrong. It is not the favorite source of fuel, neither is it required in the diet. Still. So, nil point for you, 0. Buffoon.
Humans would avoid it at all costs. That's why we like sweet things so much.
Rubbish. Absolute nonsense. That has nothing to do with our inborn liking for the taste of sweet. Nothing to do with it whatsoever, in fact. You need to learn some anthropology. You need to learn about what sources of food were available to humans throughout the vast majority of our existence on this planet. Sun. You need to, well, what you need to do is go to school and learn anything about anything, frankly, at all. Just incredible. I debunked you, he said. No, you didn't, son. You made a fool of yourself. An absolute, utter fool of yourself. Thousands of people will see this video and they are laughing at you, son. And they are face-palming because of their embarrassment, both for you and for your entire tribe, your entire family, whoever they may be. You are an absolute ridiculous joke. You are an arrogant little turd with no idea at all of what he's talking about. None. And you are a child who needs to grow up. What's next?
Because our bodies are so happy for us when we are getting sugar.
Nonsense. Again, absolute nonsense. Anti-scientific claptrap.
Now, obviously, if you start eating processed sugar, yeah, that's something that you should avoid at all.
Okay, well, processed sugar is no different from unprocessed sources of sugar. Sugar is sugar, son. Carbohydrates break down in the bloodstream to glucose, a form of sugar, son, with the exception of fructose, which is dealt with slightly differently for the most part in the liver, and it is usually metabolized directly to triace or glyceride, fat. All other carbohydrates break down to the exact same thing, identical. Okay? If you knew anything about anything, if you understood biochemistry at all, you'd have known that. Also, if you had more than 3 brain cells to rub together, you would understand that taking pot shots at a senior professor of health science with a publication list that stretches back to before you were born, son, was not a good idea if you wanted any kind of credibility at all. All right, what's next?
Costs, that's not good for you. Number 2.
Okay, so first point, what was your point? Are you suggesting that ketogenesis is bad for us? Well, it isn't. Are you suggesting that I said it was good for us? Well, I didn't. It just is. It exists because it is encoded for in our genes, those genes having survived 13,800 million years of evolution. So, false claim about what I'm supposed to have said, and a false claim of your own. You seem to be suggesting that ketogenesis is contraindicated in some way or for some reason. It isn't. You seem to be suggesting that carbohydrates are required in the diet. You're wrong. They aren't. Demonstrably wrong, unequivocally wrong. There's no argument to be had on that. So you lose on the first one. Have you debunked me? No. You've been debunked. You're an idiot. What's number 2?
You can thrive by eating just cooked muscle meat that is raised in feedlots.
You can. Demonstrably so. Absolutely, demonstrably, clearly so. Fact.
That's absolutely bullshit.
No, it absolutely isn't. You rude, insolent child. To establish the correctness of this statement, all I need do is point you to one single individual who thrives eating nothing but cooked muscle meat raised in feedlots or anywhere else. One. And you lose. So this point will fall flat on its face too, because people do thrive on a muscle meat only, cooked only diet. And we know who you've been listening to, don't we? It's written all over everything you have to say on every topic. You are yet another mindless, insolent child who has never been taught the value of respect. Incredible.
Animals in feedlots are living in a completely unnatural environment.
Yes, I agree.
With a completely unnatural diet.
Yes, I agree.
The meat is much more toxic.
No, it isn't. No matter how many times you say it's much more toxic, no, it isn't. No.
Because of higher estrogen levels.
Sure.
Toxins from...
But by the way, you know, if we were to compare 2 individuals at random, shall we say, let's say one is an individual in the second half century of his life, fit, well, thriving on a cooked-only muscle meat diet, by the way, clearly, you know, masculine, clearly not affected by overtly too much estrogen in any way, shape, or form. And let's just pick somebody else at random, shall we? What do you think, staff, boys and girls, attack helicopters? Comment below the video and tell us which one of the 2 of us may have estrogenic imbalance issues, potentially. Don't know. What's next?
Antibiotics and other drugs, like vaccines, heavy metals. Plus, when meat is cooked, you destroy most of the water-soluble vitamins.
False. No such thing is true. Yes, heat does break down some of the things that are of nutritive value in meat. However, does that affect the health status, the nutritional status of someone who eats a diet consisting solely of meat that's cooked and well done even? The answer is no. There is still quite sufficient nutrient in that muscle meat that is cooked well done for me to indeed continue to thrive and exhibit maximal health status. Far, far better than most men of my age in the second lot of 50 years on the planet. Okay? So, no, fail again.
Meaning vitamin C.
Well, do I have scurvy? No. End of discussion. You lose again.
And the vitamin B group. Eating only cooked muscle meat from feedlots will lead you to becoming nutritionally deficient.
No. Still, just saying it so doesn't make it so. Do you have any evidence to back your ridiculous claim here? No, as usual. From these arrogant children who think themselves competent to profess on a topic that they have absolutely no background or training in whatsoever. It's beyond laughable. Fail again. What's next?
Muscle doesn't have every single nutrient for humans.
Yes, it does. Still. Every single required nutrient for human beings can be found in muscle meat and associated fat of large ruminant animals. Fact. Unequivocal. Not even debatable. Wrong again. Son. What's next?
That's why tribes like the Hadza or the Datoga tribe in Tanzania and many more.
See, again, another pointer to exactly who this ridiculous child has been listening to and has been impressed by for some reason. Yet another product of a generation who have been raised to believe that your opinion is valid just because you have it. No, it isn't. Still.
Consider the liver the sacred part of the animal.
You don't know why any tribe of people consider anything, or even if they do some. Have you ever gone and sat with the Hadza? Have you met anyone from the Hadza tribe or any of the other tribes that you've just mentioned? You know nothing about these people or anything else, clearly. Okay?
The most important one and most nutritious. Number 3 is saying that vitamin C is an unimportant nutrient.
No, I never said that at all, ever. Another lie. I said there is perfectly sufficient vitamin C for the needs of a human being who eats a species-appropriate, species-specific, evolutionarily consistent diet. Scurvy does not occur. There is enough. Even if you eat all your muscle meat cooked, even if it's all well done. How do I know that? Because I don't have scurvy, son. There has been exactly 0 cases of scurvy reported, established, and documented in any medical literature anywhere, in people who eat such an appropriate species-specific diet. That is what I said, and I said it, son, because it is correct. That's what I do. What is next? Still not a single point for you, by the way.
And that even if it's missing on a carnivore diet,
it's not missing.
It's not a problem, because you consume very little glucose.
Correct.
And carbohydrates.
Correct.
That is true in a way.
It's not true in a way. It's absolutely, unequivocally, unassailably, demonstrably true. That's why I said it, because that's what I do, son.
In the sense that vitamin C is mostly needed when you're consuming higher amounts of carbohydrates, but saying that you can live without it, it's completely insane and dangerous.
Well, it would be if I'd ever said that, but I never said that, son. Ever. You lying little toe rag. You pathetic little child. Grow up. learn some respect.
Dangerous. That's why meat, in its unprocessed form, has every single nutrient, vitamin C included.
That's right. And it's still there when it's cooked. And it's still there when it's well done, in fact, as well. Obviously. Otherwise, I would have scurvy, and I don't.
Number 4. He says that salt is totally fine for us.
I've never said totally fine. I never make such blanket statements. An intake of salt in the diet, according to taste and craving for salt, is absolutely indicated. It's one of the things that you can do. Absolutely. It doesn't cause any problems. That's a different statement, isn't it?
And it's species appropriate.
It is, of course it is. Absolutely appropriate. Is there any electrolyte that you would derive from salt found anywhere in the human body? Anywhere? Oh yes, there is. Where do we get that from? Well, several places. We can get it from the flesh of animals. Some people choose to derive some electrolyte from eating plant material. That's a bad idea, but some people do that. Oh, and you can also take electrolytes directly in the form of salt, which humans have been doing, oh God, for millennia. Millennia human beings have been doing that.
Salt is a rock.
Oh, there we go. If you eat the cooked meat, you are fucking slave. You are nothing to do with carnivore. Salt is rock. You should look at the sun and the earth is flat. Right. So we know who you've been listening to. Good. Your credibility is now in the toilet. You ridiculous little buffoon. Salt is rock. Good.
Is not something that is naturally found.
Salt is not naturally found, is it not? All right, so have you ever been to reality at all? Boy? Child? Ever been anywhere near reality? Ever? Clearly not. Salt is not naturally found. There we go. You've been schooled. So have I, clearly. I've been mistaken all these years.
In animal foods.
Yes, of course it is. Of course it's found in animal foods. Otherwise, those animals would die because a lack of electrolytes would cause an animal to die just as quickly as it would cause a human to die. Our very nerve impulses rely entirely on electrolytes, son. Okay? If you can't transmit nerve impulses, you can't keep your heart beating, you can't breathe, you can't move, you're dead. You die, basically. So, can we move on? Do you have anything worthwhile to add to this discussion or anything else, child?
When you hunt an animal in nature, there is not a little pouch of salt that you can just sprinkle on your meat when you eat it.
So, number one, if you want a little pouch of salt that you can sprinkle on your meat, you can actually put one of those around your belt if you'd like to. And hunters have been doing that for millennia, actually. Tasty rock. Let's smash it up into small bits, put it in a little bag that we can carry around our pouch, and we can put that on our meat if we want to. You absolute ridiculous child. You buffoon. Incredible.
In meat and other animal foods, there is sodium.
Yes.
It's mostly what salt is. But
No, not mostly. Not at all.
Animal products, they are perfectly balanced by nature. You don't have to add anything. You don't have to do anything to them.
Sure. But so what? Does adding salt cause a problem? No. Does it curtail some of the problems some people experience? Yes. Do some people do better with a higher intake of salt than others? Yes.
Sodium, potassium, magnesium, and calcium perfectly balanced.
Sure.
Adding salt to your meat will only cause an electrolyte imbalance.
No, because you've got these funky little things in your body called kidneys, and what they do, among other things, is they manage your electrolytes so long as you allow those kidneys to function properly by eating a species-appropriate, species-specific, ancestrally consistent diet. Don't poison yourself with plant material. Have a reasonable level of physical activity, and a few other little bits and pieces that you should look out for to keep your health status maximized throughout the lifespan. No problem. So your kidneys will keep your electrolytes balanced exactly as they should be. You'll excrete extra in the urine, and when you need to hang on to more, then your body will do that by filtering it back into your blood. They're fantastic, are the kidneys? They're great. What's next?
Why?
Look them up, by the way, kidneys, okay? Look in any textbook you like, you'll find them. You know, if you even know what a book is, son, go and look in a textbook there. You'll find the kidneys and you'll see that that's what they do. What's next?
Because the ratios of electrolytes in salt are completely skewed.
What do you mean completely skewed? With respect to what?
It's a sodium bomb with only traces of magnesium, potassium, and calcium.
So?
Avoid salt.
No. No need to avoid salt.
It is not healthy for you.
Rubbish. What's next?
Number 5, the Randall cycle.
Oh, here we go. So 4 attempts at debunking me, 4 dead, flat, complete failures. No evidence presented to any of your rancid, pustulous, excremental, childlike opinions, which for some reason you feel entitled to. Not a scrap to any of it. Absolute total lack of respect for your elders and betters. Nothing but an embarrassment to yourself and to your entire wider family group. You're an absolute disgrace, child. Anyway, let's hear about the Randall cycle.
The Randall cycle is just a metabolic process.
Yes, I've never said otherwise.
It says that fatty acids and glucose compete for metabolism.
Yes. I've never said otherwise.
That doesn't mean that it's bad. It's just a process.
I never said it was bad. I have explicitly, on many occasions, said the Randall cycle is not bad. It exists precisely because it should. It exists because it has evolved in our metabolic system over 13,800 million years of evolution. So, another lie. 5 attempts at so-called debunking me, 5 absolute destitute failures. What's next?
And our bodies do it for one reason. Keto and cooked carnivore people like to name this a lot just to point out how bad sugar is.
No. It's not required. There are many reasons why carbohydrate is contraindicated in the human diet. And the activities of the Randall cycle is one of them, whether you like that or not, son.
How bad any type of sugar is, because they
all carbohydrates, all of them.
Say that glucose is the favorite source of fuel for our bodies.
No, it's not. Still wrong on that.
So that when glucose is in presence in our bodies with fat, glucose is gonna get metabolized and fat is just gonna be left there and make you become fat.
That's not strictly correct either. There's nothing correct about what you've just said, child. Nothing at all there. If the concentration of glucose in the cell is high, then that will tend to discourage the use of fat at that time. If the concentration of fat is high in a cell, that will tend to discourage the use of carbohydrate. If both are high, they will both cross-inhibit each other. That is what the Randall cycle does. Among other things. What is your point?
It's absolute nonsense.
What is absolute nonsense?
When you eat a steak with fruit, for example, or honey,
all right, so you've been listening to the Honey Boy as well, have you? As well as the Salt is Rock Boy. All right. Absolutely not the first clue on anything, is he?
What happens is just that your body is first going to metabolize the sugar.
Yeah, why do you think that is, son? Why do you think the body will clear the sugar away first? I'll let you in. I'll give you a little hint, okay? It's because it's fucking toxic, child. The normal, natural level of sugar in the blood of a human being at any given time is somewhere in the vicinity of half a teaspoon in your entire bloodstream. Any more than that is absolutely toxic. Ergo, if that starts to occur, your body systems work to clear it away. So first, we can get sugar cleared away by oxidizing it in those cells that need to oxidize substrate for energetic purpose. We can transmute sugar in the bloodstream to triacylglycerol to help lower its level in the bloodstream. And in extreme cases, we can pass glucose directly to the urine for elimination in that pathway. You really are not covering yourself in glory here. Not at all.
Which is its favorite source of fuel.
Still isn't. No.
And after that, it's gonna process the fatty acids.
Yes, but not for the reasons you think. And I'm using the term think advisedly.
It's that simple.
I'll tell you who's simple. Sun. It's very, very clear. It's patent. It's obvious. We all now know who it is that is very, very simple. Very, very destitute. Very, very lacking in a number of aspects. For example, maturity, wisdom, knowledge, experience, respect, and discipline. Absolute fail. 5 out of 5. Repeat the class next semester.
It's nothing crazy. Indigenous groups.
You don't know anything about indigenous groups. Still, some. At all. Nothing.
All over the world don't fear mixing sugar and fat.
Nonsense.
Do you really think our bodies are stupid that they cannot?
No. Again, it's clear who is, though. It's really clear, painfully clear who really absolutely is stupid.
Metabolize different macronutrients.
Our bodies are not remotely stupid, by the way. I'll tell you what is stupid. People. Example. People are stupid. People invented the taking of carbohydrate as a so-called fuel source. That's a human invention. And I'm talking about any significant amount of carbohydrate above what would be found naturally in the meat. That's the stupid thing. Believing that this unnatural, non-food, toxic substance being poured down your stupid neck every day of your stupid life is a good idea, that is the stupidity. Your system has evolved over at least 350,000 years, and probably more like 4.5 million years, in fact, to live on animal muscle meat, and associated fat, and not exogenous carbohydrate. Okay? That's what studying human metabolism, human organ systems, human physiology for longer than you have been alive, child, has taught me. Wow. Absolutely incredible, isn't it, kids? Incredible.
Together. One of the healthiest foods on the planet, raw milk.
nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Nothing wrong with consuming some raw milk if you think that it does good for you in some way and that you don't react negatively to it, it doesn't compromise your health in any way. Fine, I have no problem with that if that's somebody's opinion. But there is no evidence to support the ridiculous claim you've just made on the health effects of any food, actually, or even food-like substance. If you do want to apply some basic logic, though, you'll understand that the reason mammals wean off milk very early in life is because the continued intake of milk after that period would be counterproductive and bad for us in some way. Okay? That would make sense if you wanted to apply some basic logic. It's clear, though, that you want to do no such thing. What you want to do is espouse a mindless, vacuous, childlike opinion as if that has any validity or reality in the universe in which we actually find ourselves. Son. Child.
As everything. Fats, carbohydrates, proteins.
Yes, and that's why it's a bad idea. That's the very thing that causes the body to go into fat storage mode. To put the condition on the baby early in life so that there is a supply of energy on that baby as a layer of fat that it can then use for a growth spurt. As an adult, you won't be undertaking a growth spurt. You'll just be a fatty. Okay? Not everybody gets fat because they drink milk. I'm not saying that either. It can be a real problem for people, though. Okay? Idiot.
Do you think that's going to create a problem in our bodies?
It can do. I've just given you several examples of problems that can occur. There's also been a linkage recently where there is a suggestion that dairy products, bovine dairy products, can have a negative effect on thyroid function. Perhaps you should look that one up too. Does it happen for everybody? No. Are there people that quite happily consume dairy either raw or pasteurized? Yes. Do I begrudge them that? No, I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. But is that a naturally appropriate, species-specific, dietary nutrition approach for human beings? No, it isn't. Any more than the consumption of plants are. Okay?
Please, if you think that you're being very badly misled.
Yes, I think you have been very badly misled if you listen to children who think themselves competent to speak on a topic they have no background, no training, and no experience in whatsoever just because they have an opinion, and that their opinion is more valid than that of a senior academic who has been publishing research in this area himself as an independent scientist and teaching at both undergraduate and postgraduate level, as well as attracting multi-million-dollar external consultancies for 9 different universities over a period of time extending longer than this boy has been alive, then yes, you've been badly misled if you think that's remotely okay or a sensible approach. Wow. Wow. Wow.
So please, if you want to improve your health, stop following Bart K's...
No, if you want to improve your health, what you need to stop doing is listening to children, to little boys. Okay?
advice is dangerous.
No. You are dangerous if anybody listens to you. And by the look of the visibility of your channel and the viewer numbers on your little video here, I would suggest you're not very dangerous because nobody is fucking interested, son, in listening to you. I wonder why. Maybe it's because you have absolutely no credibility, absolutely no background, and absolutely no idea whatsoever of what you're talking about. If anyone was listening to you, that would be dangerous. And anyone that does, well, that's their funeral, frankly. That's Darwin in action. Good luck to you.
And he has admitted multiple times of cheating on the diet.
So? What the purple fuck has that got to do with anything? What does what I personally put into my own body have to do with what is demonstrably ideal? It doesn't change what is ideal. Let's say I have some beer to drink occasionally, or a potato chip here and there, for example. That has no bearing on what is ideal, and it will not change what I teach as being the ideal thing a person should undertake, any given person should undertake. And that is a 100% carnivore diet with no carbohydrates and milk plus or minus if you want to. Not a single thing you've had to say in this video has debunked anything I've ever had to say. You've lied about what it is I have even said. Everything you've said has been wrong, clearly wrong, demonstrably wrong, absolutely wrong. And actually, all it is a mindless regurgitation of absolute cocksplattery that we've heard from mindless buffoons already. And we've already laughed out of the place. What makes you think anybody's going to take you remotely seriously, son? Wow.
He also drinks coffee every day.
No, I don't drink coffee every day. False again. Another lie.
If the diet he's promoting is so good for you.
It is. It's not if, it's unequivocal. It's a fact. The 100% carnivore diet is the best diet possible for a human being. No question at all.
Why do you need a drug every day just so that
I don't need a drug every day. Still.
you're able to work and get out of bed?
No, I don't need a drug any day to work or get out of bed. Actually, let alone every day. There are no days on which I require a drug to do anything. Son, you pathetic, desperate little boy. What is next?
Thank you for watching.
Oh, you're very, very welcome.
Why Bart
Very, very welcome. So, 5 points this boy believes he had. Not one correct or of substance. Many, many misrepresentations and lies throughout his little 6-minute video or so. Absolute classic example of Dunning-Kruger on feet. Absolute classic example of this generation of children who have not been taught respect or have not been taught how to understand what their place in the world is. You're an absolute embarrassment to yourself, son. I would suggest your parents must be very, very proud and probably closely related to one another. Join me next time when someone else will be wrong on the interwebs, but not as wrong as this generation of little boys who think themselves ever so clever. Not at all. Right. See you then. Ciao for now.